Before you go and spend $300 on a Shure MV7 Plus, there's a mic you might want to hear first. This is the FIFINE AmpliTank Tank 3, a dynamic microphone that plugs in via USB and XLR, and it costs less than half the price of the MV7. Now on paper it sounds perfect for podcasters, content creators, and anyone really looking to upgrade from their built-in laptop audio. But while it nails a lot of things, it also misses the marks in a few surprising ways. Hey, I'm Sanjay, I'm a videographer and podcast producer, and for the last few weeks I've been using the Tank 3 on all of my Zoom calls, live streams, recording YouTube videos, and for podcast recordings. I've also tested it against other microphones in my setup, including wireless systems and more premium dynamic microphones. Full disclosure, FIFINE did send this over for review, no script, no sponsorship, no say in the video content, they just asked for an honest take, and that's what you're going to get. This entire video has been recorded using this Tank 3. I have the XLR output plugged into the XLR module on my S1 II, and no post-processing has been applied. The Tank 3 is aimed squarely at podcasters and streamers. It's a dynamic mic with both XLR and USB-C outputs, which is a big deal. You see, most people start off with USB microphones because they're plug and play, but if you eventually move to an audio interface or an XLR recorder, USB-only mics become dead weight. So having both outputs future-proofs your setup. And that's why for years I used to recommend the Samsung Q2U, and now FIFINE is offering similar versatility with a more modern build and a little bit more polish. The Samsung is probably a more realistic comparison than the Shure MV7 Plus, given the price point. But I've seen so many first-time mic purchasers opt for the $300 MV7 Plus, and when I've asked them why they chose it, they point to the dual XLR and USB outputs as the main factor, and that it looks like a Shure SM7B. Now when Tank 3 came onto my radar, it got me thinking, is the Shure really worth 3 times as much? Would a first-time microphone purchaser really know the difference? Unfortunately, I don't own a Shure MV7 Plus, but I have edited countless hours of audio recorded using that microphone, and I think I have a pretty good understanding of how it might stack up against other microphones like the Tank 3. Now, out of the box, you get the Tank 3 mic with a built-in yoke mount, a decent USB-C to USB-A cable, and a quick start guide that's actually worth reading, and dual thread compatibility with the 3/8 and 5/8 mounts built into the yoke itself. Physically, this mic lives up to its Tank name. It's hefty, it's solid, it doesn't feel cheap. And the built-in yoke gives it a more professional feel, clearly mimicking the SM7B and the MV7 aesthetic. There's also this mute button with a LED status. Now, being a dynamic mic, it rejects background noise better than condenser mics or small wireless systems. You get that nice proximity effect with that kind of low-end richness that podcasters love, and it holds up really well when used correctly. So this is me talking directly into the mic, roughly about a few inches away from my mouth. Now I've turned the microphone 90 degrees and this is what it sounds like. Now I've pointed the microphone 180 degrees away from my mouth and this is what it sounds like. Whilst I've been getting set up in my new studio here, I've simply been relying on my MacBook Pro microphone for my video calls and using my Rode Wireless Pro or my DJI wireless mics for any content that I need to create. When this thing came along, I plugged it straight into my MacBook Pro and I was immediately impressed with the quality of the audio compared to what I'd been using just previously. There's this depth to the audio that you can only get with a full-blooded microphone that wireless systems and built-in microphones definitely lack. Now the setup was a breeze, simple plug and play via USB. No fuss, no syncing, no issues. Now this is another reason why a USB microphone is better than a wireless system. If you need to be mobile and run and gun, then sure, you can't beat a small wireless setup. But at your desk, a microphone like the Tank 3 just makes much more sense. Now I love the inclusion of the headphone output. Being able to monitor yourself in real time is really important for podcasters and solo creators. It also gives you that peace of mind knowing that your audio is not being recorded with any interference. Now this mute switch isn't something I thought I would use, but I was pleasantly surprised at how convenient it is. Not having to reach down to my mouse or keyboard to mute myself during Zoom calls or recording sessions is one of those small quality of life improvements that just got me to think, why do more microphones not have this feature? Now bear in mind it only works in USB mode, and just remember that you've activated it. Now the red LED or green LED light helps in this instance. It's also nice to have manual controls of your headphone gain and your mic gain. This allows you to easily dial in your levels during any recording sessions. Overall, the audio quality coming from this microphone is solid. The good thing about using a decent microphone to capture your audio is that it gives you a solid platform to apply any type of post-processing. Now that's where Auphonic comes in. Auphonic is my go-to processing software that I've been using for well over 5 years. It cleans up your audio, removes any background noise, applies EQ and compression without you having to understand what any of that actually means. The bottom line is, it makes your audio sound better. Check out Auphonic using the link in the description. Now, the Tank 3 has got its weak spots. There are a few omissions that really matter. Firstly, I was a little bit gutted there was no USB-C to USB-C cable included. For MacBook users, that's a little bit annoying. You either need to go into dongle life or you need your own cable. Neither is ideal when you're trying to go plug and play and just get going. Now, apart from the yoke, there's no actual stand included. Now, that's not uncommon with these microphones, but it's definitely worth noting, especially since the Samsung Q2U does include a desk stand, even if it's basic. Now, with the inclusion of the dual thread compatible mounting point, I still had to use an adapter because this Elgato desk stand only has a 1/4 inch thread. Now, the inclusion of an adapter would have been nice. Now, the monitoring feature via the headphones doesn't work reliably when you have the microphone plugged in through a hub. When you plug it directly into your computer, the MacBook in my case, I could hear myself through the headphone jack fine, but via my Thunderbolt dock, nothing. Now, that's probably not the fault of the microphone or any design flaw, but it's definitely something worth noting, as I know more and more creators are integrating docks into their workflow. So if real-time monitoring is important to you, and it should be, make sure you're connected correctly. Now the LED light for the mute switch is really handy, but the light is quite bright and it's not dimmable. If you're on camera, it will be in shot and that glow might not be what you want. Now the noise floor is significant when you push the gain. You will hear that background hiss, especially in untreated rooms. Now it's not a deal breaker, but it is a lot worse than you will get with a more expensive microphone. Now if you are connecting the microphone via XLR, you could use a Fethead or a cloud lifter to give you some more clean gain. Now when it's used in USB mode, the headphone preamplifier is not the best. I've had to have the volume cranked up quite a bit to get a decent monitoring level. The same could be said for the mic gain. And finally, there's no built-in windshield or pop filter. You'll need to add your own to avoid plosives, especially if you're working close mic like this. I use this simple foam windshield for my Rode Procaster and it works great. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I think the difference is quite noticeable. So look, if you're just getting started in podcasting, content creation, streaming, or simply just want to level up your video calls and want a mic that sounds good, that doesn't break the bank, this is a strong contender. And the best thing is, if you do decide to grow your setup, you can take this mic with you. Now it's definitely not as polished as the premium MV7 Plus, but at a third of the price, it's hard to argue with the value, and this mic covers a lot of ground. It sounds great, it's solidly built, it looks good, and most importantly, it gives you room to grow. If you can work with some of the minor limitations, the FIFINE AmpliTank Tank 3 might be all the mic you need for now.